Hello everybody and welcome back to Pokemon White 2. So, as I am continuing on with our exploration around Castelia City, but we're gonna be taking a break from that. It's because since as you can tell, it is now the afternoon, which means now I'll be showing off what the Royal Unova is like. As you are going through this, within the base game, instead of like within the base game, instead of the post game. Yeah, meaning that of course we'll be facing off against trainers who are just gonna be around our current levels. Yeah. Now, I've already explained how the Royal Unova works within the prequel titles, so I'm not gonna go over them. Right now. And I've already wasted time because I taunted that guy. Yeah, that was already a big time killer already. Yeah, that right there was certainly fast. But anyways, everyone, now as I am just going for these battles with all these, with these trainers here, now I may as well go over what I was talking about when it came to the Castelia cones. It's because, well, I didn't exactly go into too much, details about it. Since I didn't exactly go into too much details about it last time. Oh, wait a minute. That's right. Now this guy that we're actually facing off against right now actually has a Zubat. So yeah, that's alright, everyone. Within the Light 2, you can actually get yourself a Zubat. Yeah, that is if you actually feel like it. Anyway, yeah. Anyways, everyone. Now, as I was saying about the Castelia cones. Now, during the prequel titles, now you could only get the Castelia cones only on Tuesdays. No, but you could only get them during the spring, summer, and also like autumn. But during winter, the store itself will be closed. Yeah, meaning that during winter you could not get Castelia cones whatsoever. But now within the sequel titles, you can get a maximum of either one or a dozen amount of Castelia cones for once per day. Now meaning that you can stock up, you can stock up on Castelia cones a lot more within the sequels. It's just that you have to keep coming back here, back to that stall. Now you essentially have to go back to that stall every day. Yeah. Okay. So, anyways, anyways, everyone. Now, as I am just gonna be face off against these trainers again. Yeah, I may still go over our brand new the Pokemon anime appearances. Okay, so next on our list is of course our evolution of Oshawott, Duan. Now after the Universe series, Duwon did exactly that. Now, Duwon didn't really make that many appearances. Yeah, it didn't exactly make. Yeah, Duwon didn't make any appearances within the Kalos or the Lola series. But however, I do want to got to be finally be brought back after for so long, for only one episode in Journeys. And as I already told you before, about a certain character in like Horizons, who started off her journey with a Oshawott, who has now fully evolved to the Samurai, which of course meant that we got to see a Duwad, which of course meant that we actually got to see Duwad a few times, which means that we actually got to see Duwad a few times within Horizons. Yeah, it is still a darn shame that even though Duwad did make several like appearances within Horizons, but overall Duwad still doesn't make too many appearances. Yeah, and it's honestly a darn shame. But it's honestly not that much of a shame as Whirlipede. Yeah, get this. Now to this day, Whirlipede has only made three anime appearances, and all three of them are within the Unova series. Now, the only other time that we've seen Whirlipede outside of the anime was during one episode of Generations. Yeah. Yeah, Generations is the only series to feature a Whirlipede, where Whirlipede has only shown up within the anime 3 times, and it has not been seen whatsoever ever again. Yeah, we really at this point we really need to get back Whirlipede back into the anime, at least in some form or another, just once more. Like, come on, guys. Is it really that hard to bring back a Whirlipede? Jeez. But anyways, everyone, now on to Pampor. Now, after the Universe series, Pampor got to show up. Pampor got plenty of background appearances within the Akala series. And while it didn't make any appearances within the Alola series, but however, within Journeys, it did get to make a plenty more of appearances. Yeah, it got to make a plenty more of appearances because of course Go actually caught one. And it was actually utilized a few times. And it was also utilized a few times within Journeys. So at the very least, Pampor has now gotten that much, and it has still has yet to make an appearance within Horizons. So, as I said, even though Pampor might get a few more appearances within Journeys, but it is still not too often that we really ever get to see one. That we really ever get to really see Pampor. Yeah. Anyways, everyone. Now on to Clefairy. Now, within the Kanto series and the Johto series, yeah, Clefairy doesn't exactly get that many appearances. And then, starting with the Hoenn series, Clefairy did get a few more appearances. And it did get at least 2 appearances within the Sinnoh series. And I believe it didn't exactly get any appearances within the Unova series. And the same also applies to Kalos, I believe. But I would say definitely started with the Alola series, where the love for Clefairy got to grow even more. Considering that during the Alola series, we did get a flashback as to what exactly became of the Clefable what became of the Clefable of how the Clefairy evolved into Clefable. That show was, of course, was owned by Lusamine. Yeah. And then within Journeys, yeah, Clefairy did get, I would say Clefairy has definitely gotten the most appearances within any series ever at this point. And it did get one major, and I want to say it did get at least one major appearance within Journeys. And it was the episode where Chloe and her family where Chloe and her father were doing some research. And it was the episode where Chloe's father got to talk to her about how he met this Clefairy. So yeah, that was certainly something. Well, yeah, and then within Horizons, yeah, I think Clefairy has made a few more appearances as well. Honestly, I don't fully recall. Yeah, but anyways, everyone, now as you can see, now we have once again the return of Basculin. So yeah, now we once again have the return of the red striped Basculin. Now, unlike the prequel series, where the usual water types that we only really get to see outside of Pampor was a Basculin, whereas in the sequel titles, we are going to be seeing even more water types outside of those two. Yeah, then it was until later on that we got to see like Frillish, Alomomola. Yeah. Black-2 and White-2 definitely shows off even more. Like water types. Yeah, it really does. But anyways, everyone, now that we're done facing off against every trainer, now how about we once again take a look at the view. The view as we are riding we are riding the Royal Unova. As we sail on, right underneath the Sky Arrow Bridge. Yeah. Okay, everyone. Now on to our next Pokemon, Badoo. Now Badoo did get a plenty of appearances within the Sinnoh series, but not a whole lot. Now Badoo didn't show up once within the Unova series, but however, it did get to show up at least a few more times. But however, it did get to come back at least a few times within the Kalos series. And, well, it only got to show up once within the Alola series. And then it got to show up at least a few more times within Journeys. And it has shown up at least twice within Horizons. So, yeah, essentially. Now, Wabadoo has made a plentiful of appearances. Yeah, it's just not a whole lot. Yeah, it's just not a whole lot. Yeah. But, anyways, everyone. But, anyway. Oh, wait, everyone. Now onto Meryl. Who, at this point in time, yeah, has made at least one appearance within every series. Yeah, yes, everyone. Now, whenever you watch the anime, you are essentially bound to see at least for one Meryl somewhere. Meryl was indeed that popular. That it has shown itself a bunch of times now. And the same also applies to Eevee as well too. Yeah, Eevee to this day is still just as popular. And it is also a Pokemon that has shown up at least once within the anime series. So yeah, just like with Meryl, yes, you are gonna be seeing at least one Eevee within like every series. Yeah. But anyways, everyone, now as you can see, now we are at the pier where we have the ship that would take us to a place called the Liberty Garden. But however though, within the prequel series, now you could only go to the Liberty Garden if you just happen to have an item called the Liberty Pass. If you just happen to have the Liberty Pass, which was an event exclusive item only. And then when you just happen to visit that place, now you'll be faced off against some members of Team Plasma, and then after that, she'll be able to capture the legendary Pokemon, Victini. Well, Victini's more so of a mythical Pokemon, but whatever. Oh yes, right. But first, I may as well get this over with now. The Harlequin who is in the Passerby Analytics, the Passerby Analytics HQ. Yeah, and I'm not gonna be bothered talking to everybody here again. Considering that I didn't really bother with going through all of that within. Considering I didn't really bother with. Oh wait, that wasn't the pier that I was talking about when it came to Liberty Garden. Right, I forgot. Yeah, it's actually this pier right here. Yeah, it's actually this pier is where we're gonna be going to the Liberty Garden, right? Yeah, my brain immediately thought that previous pier that we just went to was in fact the pier that we actually got to go to the Liberty Garden. Yeah, I guess I just completely forgot about that. But anyways, everyone, now back to what I was saying about the Passerby Analytics HQ. Yeah, considering that I never really bothered to do anything of that within the prequel titles. Yeah, that's why I decided to skip out on talking to anybody there this time around. Yeah. But anyways, everyone, and now back to what I was saying about the Liberty Garden. Now, as I said, you could not gain access to Liberty Garden without the Liberty Pass. But however, within the Black and White 2, we can actually go to the Liberty Garden, like without even the need of the Liberty Pass at all. Yeah, meaning that this will be the only time that we will ever get to actually experience that place. Yeah. Now, however, considering that this is Black 2, White 2, excuse me. Now, meaning that we can't exactly capture a Vicatini, this meaning that you will not get to go for the event where you actually get to capture a Vicatini. But however though, something does actually happen if you just happen to have that very same Vicatini within your party, and if you have brought it all the way down here to the basement, then Vicatini will pop out of the Pokeball, and it will look at several areas while dancing and calling out. And then it will return to its ball with a message that will say that it seems like satisfied. But however, that will not happen as well. Unless if you have met, until you have met Professor Juniper in person. Once you have first met Professor Juniper in person, then Juniper will briefly appear upon like arriving here. So yeah, now while it may not seem much, but it is still something. That you can do if you have already caught that same Vicatini within the prequel titles. Yeah. Again, it's not much. It's not all that big, it's not much, but it's still something. Yeah. Okay, so with that said, that is about everything that we can really do here. So yeah, not much. So it's not much that we can really go from there anyway. Okay, well with that said, now that should be all I am gonna be doing for this part. And so we shall explore around the rest of the city for the next one. And so to then, I'll see you guys next time.